What's up, my mammal jammals? We are on our way for just a one-night trip, just a quick little overnighter, no big deal, but we're doing it on the mountain bike. I recently purchased a mountain bike. I say recently, actually, I've had it for quite a while. I've been wanting to do this trip for quite a while, and you know, it's been, oddly enough, winter here in Florida. I'm in Panama City. I know it doesn't get really cold, but you know, we get a lot of rain during the winter months, so it's been rainy and cold and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. This weekend the weather's pretty nice. I got blue skies, really hardly any clouds in the sky, a high of about maybe 60, mid-60s. We'll call it low to mid-60s for the high. It's gonna be down to the really high 30s to low 40s tonight, but that's okay, because I've got a new piece of gear that I'm gonna talk about a little bit too. I got a backpack back here that's loaded up with some various items to help me get through the night. And yeah, we're headed out to Pine Log State Forest to a trailhead called Crooked Creek. Crooked Creek Trail. It's a 10-mile loop, primarily for mountain bikes. You can walk it if you want to, of course, but it's a bike trail. 10-mile loop. It does have like a 2-mile cutoff that you can take. I have been out to this trail twice already. I have yet to complete it. The first time around, I tried to catch some good weather in between some bands of a tropical storm, and I wound up getting caught out in the rain. It was still a blast. I got muddy as all hell, and but I didn't complete the trail. I have yet to complete this trail. I haven't ridden the bike in, honestly, a couple months. I haven't even been on this bicycle in a couple months. So I figure if I'm gonna do Crooked Creek, I'm gonna split it up between 2 days. Okay, so that's where we're headed right now. Pine Log State Forest, Crooked Creek Trail, and let's do an overnight mountain biking trip. What's up? All right, so here we are. We're here at the trailhead at Crooked Creek in Pine Log State Forest, and we are about to get underway. There's a couple cars in the parking lot. Looks like there's a group of 2 with bikes that are getting ready to head out. I'm not really sure if they're leaving or if they got here and they're getting ready to go. But I got the bike loaded up. I had to put my sleeping bag here on the back. I just got it strapped down with some bungees. I got a backpack on. We're ready to get underway. It's at 20 to 2. Got a late start, but that's okay because I don't have too far to go to get to where I'm wanting to sleep tonight. So let's get this thing going. We are off. I have to remember to pace myself since it's been quite a while since I've been out here, and it's been quite a while since I've been on the bike, period. So far she feels good. Now, being that this is, you know, kind of like a backpacking trip, and on a bicycle at that, I didn't pack a tripod or anything, you know, to stand the camera up by itself. So a lot of shots are gonna be either, you know, first person point of view. I guess I should probably pay attention to what I'm doing while I'm riding and talking. That was a big root that just came out of nowhere and I wasn't ready for it. But anyway, a lot of shots are gonna be FPV. Very rarely will I be able to turn the camera around and face me. So bear with that. y'all got to see me crash a little bit there. So enjoy that one. One thing that I got was this little pack of you know, just various camera attachments, you know, for like a GoPro style camera. I'm using a DJI Osmo Action, which I absolutely love, by the way. But I got this little kit that came with, you know, little screws and mounts and things, but it also came with this chest mount that I've got on right now, which I haven't used yet. So I have no idea what you guys are even looking at. I think you're looking forward. But anyway, it's got a head mount too. I might try that out later. But you know, I've picked up a few little things here and there since the last time I made a video. I always have a problem. If I can't go on a trip, I'm constantly thinking about going on a trip and what I might need, or, you know, something that sounds cool, and I'll usually buy it. But the best thing I've got right now is a packable 0 degree sleeping bag. And when I say packable, I mean it comes with a stuff sack, and it's basically a compression bag too. It's still a little bigger than I wish when it's all stuffed together, but it's definitely a lot more packable than my big Coleman 0 degree sleeping bag. However, that Coleman is phenomenal. It's just cumbersome to carry. It's great if I'm overlanding, and I can pack it in a car. I took it once on a kayak trip, and it almost took up one of my dry hatches, almost took up the whole dry hatch. So I was in the market for a 0 degree kind of backpacking sleeping bag, and I found the one that I have. And I have camped since my last video, a couple times with my children, and also with my girlfriend. She had never camped before, so of course I had to drag her out into the woods. And she's been on 2 trips with me, once just she and I, and another time with my kids. It seems to be okay with it. But anyhow, the sleeping bag, I love it. It's lightweight. That's the main thing. It doesn't pack as small as I'd like it to, but it's lightweight. So I'm gonna be sleeping in that tonight, as well as with my underquilt. I've got my hammock. I've got a little, what I'm gonna call true backpacking little stove. And I've got my GrillyPut. It's the newest generation, we'll say, GrillyPut. And I've got a little flat iron steak that I marinated overnight. And of course some dehydrated things. But I'll go through some of that gear when I, finally stop for the day. Talk a little bit about pretty much everything I've got with me. So I'm gonna keep on riding this trail. I seem to be doing okay now. I got a little messed up earlier with that crash because I was trying to operate the camera and ride a bike and not paying attention to the routes. But anyway, let's just enjoy some of Crooked Creek Trail for a bit. Big roots.
Oh, nope, I didn't want this way. This is the cutoff. This is the 2-mile cutoff right here. I went the wrong way. Let me turn this guy around. Oh, come on, feet. There we go. There we go. All right. There we go. I gotta stay on the red. On the red blazes, not the what in the blue blazes, but what in the red blazes. Hey, good. How are you? Now, that's something I'm a little concerned about, is this trail is actually busier than I've ever been on it. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be doing anything illegal tonight by camping. This trail does kind of crisscross with the Florida Trail, which is a hiking trail, which dispersed camping is allowed on. Just for, you know, one night while you're passing through. But I am hoping to go, you know, pretty much unnoticed. Stealth camp, as they say. So there is quite a bit of foot traffic today. Let me grab another gear here on this kind of flat section. So I wasn't expecting there to be, I just passed my trail again. I wasn't expecting there to be as many people out here today. You gotta really pay attention on this thing though. I always seem to lose the trail at some point, but I digress. Whew. I had to stop for a minute. You know, it's low 60s, mid 60s out. There is a good breeze, but I worked up a bit of a sweat with this hoodie on, so I had to stop. I'm gonna take this off because I'm starting to sweat inside here, and well, we all know that's not really a good idea to be sweating. So take this off, and I'm gonna grab some of my water. So far, I'm pretty happy with my progress. I've got a map. I can't pull it up on my watch, but my watch is tracking my, how can I say it? My watch is tracking my location on the trail. So at some point I'm gonna have to stop and get on the phone and just see exactly where I'm at, because I've only got so far to go to get to where I'm planning on unpacking everything today. I think I might be about halfway to that. Like I said, it's a 10-mile loop. I think I've maybe done probably about 2.5 miles already. So I'm halfway to the halfway, if that makes sense. What you see around you though right now, all this behind you, that's pretty much what it is out here. I mean, it's pine log state forest, and that's about what you see is, you know, a bunch of pine logs, only they're growing straight up. They're not on the ground. Pretty much par for the course in this area when it comes to scenery, honestly. But it is what it is. If you're somewhat from the area here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any of you guys that might be watching this video that are, you know, farther north, like even up into, you know, mid to northern Alabama, Georgia, and of course once you cross into the Carolinas and everything, you guys have some topography and you know, some different foliage than we do here. It's a lot of palmetto and pine, you know. Just trying to cool off a little bit, let some of this sweat wick away. This is a dry, you know, like an athletic shirt. This is a dry shirt. Of course, I've got a cotton t-shirt on over it, you know, Kylo Ren. Some of you have watched a lot of my videos, probably know
I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan, and I've almost always got a Star Wars shirt on in my videos. And the funny thing is, it's not even planned. I just have a lot of Star Wars shirts, and I wear them a lot. All right, we're gonna get back underway. I've got this bottle. I've got a bottle that's on the bungees there, and another bottle in the bag, and another bottle in the bag. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've got a 5th one in there somewhere, but long story short, I should be all right as far as water goes. Halfway to the halfway, and I've just about finished this one. I'll pull this one out probably about the time that I get to camp, depending on daylight. It's only 2:15 right now, but I don't know. Let's get moving. Let's get this show on the road. So right up ahead of me is some things that I've encountered on this trail before. So I'm about to swap the camera around and let y'all get a front row seat to what's about to happen here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but we are practically mud bogging right now. But I have outfitted this thing with big old knobbies, just like the H3. So that actually wasn't that bad too. It looked worse when I first came up to it. So I just stopped and let me adjust this a bit. There you go. So I just stopped and because I came to a crossroads, and I was like, all right, I better check Gaia and see where I'm at on this trail. And it turns out I'm a lot farther along than I thought I was. I'm very close to the section of this trail that I wanted to stop at for the day. I may just go ahead and do that. I'm pretty far out. I'm kind of going down this Forestry Service road right now, and there's going to be a couple roads that are going to cross it or intersect with this road, and it's going to be my second left that I will take, and I'll pretty much be where I wanted to be for the day. I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I thought I was. I mean, I've had to stop and, you know, take a breather a few times and drink a little water, you know, but I am definitely making much better progress than I expected. There's a ditch here on my left. It's got some water in it. This is Florida, and there are alligators, and I have heard stories of what this person called ditch gators. That's my girlfriend Amy. Hey Amy, if you're watching. She used to live kind of out this way, and she would go out for a jog, and there were a couple times she would go out for jogs and there'd be an alligator in the ditch. So anyway, I just noticed that ditch next to me and I was like, huh, I wonder if I'm gonna see a ditch gator. All right, so I'm actually back on the loop, the bicycle trail proper now. And this is definitely the area where I would like to camp tonight. There's a lot of very small pine saplings, if you will. And you don't really want to try and hang 185 pounds in between two sapling pines, you know. It's not good for the trees, and well, I'll probably wake up on the ground. So I am going to kind of keep going a bit until I get back into some of the larger pine trees. So I kind of stopped here for a minute, and I figured I would probably have to break trail some, just to kind of get away from some of the
kind of Forest Service roads. I don't know if they patrol out here. Like I said, nothing that I'm doing is illegal. Okay, it's not illegal to camp. I'm pretty much on the Florida Trail, like I said, which is a hiking trail. And yes, you are allowed to camp one night and pack up and keep yourself moving without too much hassle, even if somebody comes across you. So, but also, like I said, I like to stealth camp. And so I'm gonna break trail, and it looks like I'm about to have to cross Crooked Creek. There's a little water crossing up here. And then right after that, it turns into some soft sand uphill. So I'm probably gonna have to get off the bike and walk it, but I'm already in a prime location to find a place. So we're gonna get this going. I think we're pretty much to where we're gonna be for the rest of the day, which would be nice. I wouldn't mind sitting up the hammock and just kind of hanging out for a little bit, pun intended. So let's get across this little water here and see how how wet I'm gonna get with it. All right, let's check this out. This ought to be pretty cool. All right, here we go. Here comes the creek. Holy moly. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little wet here. Hell yeah. Oh, actually, no, that's not too bad. Just keep myself going. There we go. All right, now we're into that soft sand. Basically, we're gonna get off and walk the bike now. All right, so I got the bike sitting right over there. Farther that way, I don't really like that too much. I didn't think this road that I'm walking on right now really went that far, or I thought it maybe took off in another direction, but it pretty much goes straight back that way. And it's just another open sapling field, you know? So I'm gonna come back, I'm walking back down here, back towards where I crossed the creek. And there is a pretty heavily wooded area with some rather large pine trees that would be good for a hammock. See, the thing about hammock camping is you can't have two trees that are very close together. I don't know if you can see those two right there, but those are way too close, you know. And then there's two that are farther back there that are really, you know, kind of big trees, but they look too close. And plus, that's often, let's just say, it's a little farther off trail than I'd like to sleep. How about that? Now, I'm probably about to get my feet wet because this didn't look as wide when I came through on the bike. But wait a minute. Here we go. Y'all might like this though. This is actually kind of pretty. Here. The creek comes through there. Comes right back. Runs off there and back into the woods. I would imagine at some point in this creek there's probably, oops, I was covering the microphone, sorry. I imagine at some point in this creek there's probably some crawdads, you know, crawfish or crayfish, however you say them. But anyway, let me hop over this thing. There we go. I found a nice little narrow spot. All right. So I may have to bring the bike back across and come back up to where I was. I really thought I had something there, but you know, that is part of the reason I think why I did get here at a fairly reasonable time. So this whole area right here though has a lot of pine, a lot of large enough pine to hang something off of. And if I come back into here, I could probably get away with camping back here. And there's a fair amount of wood around for me to, you know, have a fire to grill that steak up with, because I marinated that steak all night long in little cilantro, jalapeno, olive oil, a little bit of balsamic vinaigrette or vinegar, garlic, salt, pepper, and some chipotle and cumin. I know that sounds like a lot, right? I chefed for 23 years, so it's kind of hard for me not to do things like that. I think these two trees that I'm looking at right now, this one and that one, I think that's golden, because I'm down in a bit of a gully here. I'm kind of downhill from where the rest of the trail is. And all of my camping gear is, you know, muted greens and things. I didn't bring my really big tarp. It's like 8 by 10. It's like 8 feet wide by 10 feet long, something like that. I didn't bring that with me because, I mean, it does kind of stick out. So I'm not gonna have a tarp. These trees are very much alive. There's no trees around me that could fall. Well, except for maybe that one. But yeah, I don't see that happening. Not today. I think this is where I'm gonna be at. Yeah. I think I found home for the day and the night. Let's go get the bike. All right, let's get ourselves somewhat unpacked here. I gotta get down to my hammock straps. Here's my hammock. Okay. Hammock straps. All right. Take one strap. I like doing this. Watcha! Yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo. Alright, let me knock these vines down. They look a little prickly. Alright. There's one. Now, one important thing to do, which sometimes I fail to, is to make sure that you get your hammock straps themselves level with each other up each of the trees that you're going to hang from, because if you have one higher than the other, you're liable to wind up making yourself sleep on a bit of an incline, which isn't really that fun. All right, so here's my 2 trees, and I'm going to be in the middle. I'm going to get this set up. Well, we're hanging. We're hanging and we're swinging. Not too bad, not too bad. In the morning, the sun will be coming up behind me. Right now, it's kind of it's kind of right in my face. You know, sometimes it's nice to get to camp early, though. You know, you're not in a rush to get things set up before the sun goes down, and you can just kind of kick back and relax a bit. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Just clearing out an area to have my fire tonight. It's going to be a very small fire. I just need it to be big enough and hot enough to grill about a little 8-ounce flat iron steak that I brought. You know, this channel used to be called Misadventures Productions. And there was a reason for that. Because I always tended to forget, you know, like usually one small minor detail. And I think I may go back to that name for the channel. I don't know. I like Everyman Adventures because, you know, I'm just an everyday guy. Like I'm everyman, you know. I work a regular job, and you know, I repair appliances for a living. So nothing glamorous by anybody's standards. So, you know, I kind of came up with that, but this trip is no exception to the rule of a misadventure, because I'm taking a step back here to see, you know, just how visible camp might be, and already it's getting lost.
But this trip is no exception to that rule, because I had a fork set out. As a matter of fact, it's still in my truck. I do have a knife. It's just a pocket knife. I was going to bring my Glock knife that I have, but I left that in there too. And I also had some paper plates still in there from my last camping trip to Point Washington. But I don't have those with me. So eating this steak is going to be fun. Also, eating my freeze-dried meals that I have. Like, I've got biscuits and gravy for the morning. And if you've never had the Mountain House biscuits and gravy, I gotta wholeheartedly recommend that. Right there. Mountain House biscuits and gravy right there. That stuff is amazing. If I get a little hungry even after the steak, I've got lasagna with meat sauce. And that is also amazing. Walmart. You can get these at Walmart, believe it or not. But I got everybody set up here pretty well. I just laughing at myself for forgetting eating utensils. But I mean, hey, you know, what good is it sleeping in the woods if you don't eat with your hands? I'm really kind of liking this chest mount. But so let's talk about something here, since I got a little time. This is the sleeping bag that I was talking about. There we go. Angle this thing down a bit. So this is my sleeping bag that I got. It's from Teton Sports. I think you might be able to read that just a little bit right there. Teton Sports. This is how it packs down. Okay, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't call it a hardcore backpacking bag. But for what I do, a lot of kayaking and you know, and the like, this bike packing trip, it seems to be doing okay with as well. It's really great. I got it off Amazon. I think it might have been about maybe 60, 70 bucks, something like that. The only thing I wasn't happy with is the only option that I had, or there were a couple options. This was the, let's say, hey, look at me color combo I could get. It's black, and then it's got this really kind of neon green inside, but you won't see that anyway because I'll be in it. My hammock, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is very neutral, green and brown. It blends in pretty well. So anyway, I'm gonna get this set up so it can loft, because it is one of those sleeping bags that needs time to basically open up. So we're gonna get this guy set up in the hammock. It's getting a little cooler out right now. I may have to put the hoodie back on here shortly, but I'm gonna get this guy set up in here. Come on, let me get it up and at him. There you go. All right. You can see it's been stuffed in that sack, you know, but give this thing, you know, about 15-20 minutes and it'll get poofy. So when I got this thing in, I was so excited to open it up. Came home from work and it was sitting on the front steps. So I bring it inside and I grab my box knife and I go and I just cut the tape, you know, that was on the box. But the box was just the right size for this thing to be in. And what happened was, I don't know if you can see this patch that I had to put on here, but the box knife actually cut about a 1.5, almost 2-inch long slice through the stuff sack. And I was like, oh shit. But it was okay, you know. I was like, well, that's, you know, it's the bag. That's, you know, it's just the bag it goes in. No big deal. Well, when I got the sleeping bag out of the stuff sack, which I don't know where the patch is, I actually wound up cutting into the sleeping bag about 1.5 to 2 inches. But I was able to find at, where did I go? Hobby Lobby? I was able to find these patches at Hobby Lobby, and they're made for this kind of material. I was really surprised.
and it's been on there quite a good while, and no issues. It's staying on there. And I mean, I stuffed that I stuffed the sleeping bag, you know, into this compression sack, and I squeezed this thing down as tight as possible. So I'm thankful for that. But I was really worried. I couldn't believe that I did that. I was so mad at myself for cutting into that sleeping bag and the stuff sack. So I've got my little fire going. Gonna let it burn up a little bit and hopefully get some good coals. So when the time comes, see, it's just a baby, just a baby. When the time comes, I can put that little guy on top of it. This is that grilly put that I was talking about. I've used it a couple times, maybe on some videos. I don't know. I had a different generation of this. This one is a much smaller, but it also packs up a lot better. Everything that you see here, all of the pieces fit inside this tube, which then fits inside that tube. So basically, this is all you have to carry when it's put away. It's pretty cool. Pro tip: always let your grill get hot before you put your food on it, right? You don't cook eggs in a cold pan, so don't put your steak on a cold grill. Anyway, I digress on that. Once that gets good and hot, I'll slap that flat iron on there and, you know, try to figure out how I'm going to cook that without really any utensils. So a little bit of ingenuity might have to come into play. I'm looking around and I see a couple good hardwood sticks that I could use to maybe fashion up some chopsticks. Now, I went ahead and cut it in half because cooking two smaller pieces just seemed a little more apropos at the moment. And plus, when I did cut it in half, I thought I was at a good medium rare medium, but this guy was still, I mean, in the middle, that mug was rare. And I don't mind rare meat, but that was still, that was a little too rare for even my liking. So I went ahead, and once I cut into it to check it, I was like, well, I'll just cut it in half. Go ahead and, you know, finish the job off in two pieces. But we're getting there, though. We're almost ready. And we are getting really, really close now. At least I think it might be about time to take her off. All right, there we go. Now I'll take it down into our little gully here. It's keeping us fairly well hidden. And we're going to set it right there. And we're going to leave it alone. We're not going to touch this thing for about 10 minutes. Okay, there we go. Let me take a seat at the table here. Getting fancy tonight. All right, let's see what this thing's got going on, huh? All right, let me get my my stabilizer. Now let's find. There we go. Let's start. Well, let's just start right in the middle. Let me turn this thing around here. We're gonna take a slice right out of the middle of this guy and get this thing facing this way. And we're gonna move you that way. Let's line you up just like, let's put you on this side. Look at this, look at this, look at what I got, look what I have myself succumb to here. Using sticks and a pocket knife to eat with. This is what happens when you forget things, people. When you forget stuff. Oh yeah. Alright, I gotta be careful because I don't want my slice of meat to fall through the grill slats. So let's just slice this guy off here. Look at that. Look at that. Here we go. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, Lord have mercy on my soul. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna make some serious yummy noises right now. I don't know if y'all really saw that, but you want to talk about, look at that. That is what I would call perfection. Some of y'all might think that's medium, but that is not medium. That is actually a perfect medium rare. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just brag on myself a bit. That is a perfect medium rare. All right. I'm eating this whole thing. I'm going to be fat, dumb, and happy tonight. I already ate my lasagna. I ate my lasagna and meat sauce while the fire was heating up. Oh, and how did I eat that? How do you eat a Mountain House lasagna and meat sauce when you don't have a spoon or a fork or anything? You put it in one of those little cups and you basically slurp at it. And that was good too, but holy linoleum, Batman. I just want to pick this thing up and just eat it. It is better when you slice it up though. All right, so far my little stick situation is working out pretty well. It's you know, it's a little it's a little awkward when it starts getting smaller. You know what, actually it's such a small piece of meat right now, I might as well just hold it with my hand and cut it. I don't know if y'all really just want to watch me sit here and eat a piece of meat, but this is what's happening right now. Oh my God. It's almost like it's smoked. I mean, it almost kind of is. I mean, it was grilled, but it's got a bark on the outside. Like, that's not charred. That's like bark from from a pulled pork or something. So tender. All right, I'm not gonna bore y'all with me sitting here eating this meat. So I'm gonna enjoy this to myself. The temperature is starting to drop a bit. I had to put my hoodie back on. So far, I've had no sign of, you know, anybody coming through. And I really don't think I will. Like, it's late in the day. I am far back on the far east side of where this trail goes. So, it's just me. It's just me. You know, while I was sitting there finishing off that steak, it got me thinking about something that I don't think a lot of people, the majority of people, I don't think, take into consideration when they, what I call dispersed camp. You know, and dispersed camping is camping in a non-designated campground, okay, or a non-designated campsite. You know, free camping, I guess. I don't know. It's called dispersed camping. But you know, when you're camping in a designated campground, okay, well, they're busy, you know. There's almost always going to be somebody there. Oh, wow, it's really getting dark. There's almost always going to be somebody there. So your risk of exposure, I guess, is decreased greatly. And this is something that I've kind of always done when I do trips like this. Like, let's say I'm kayaking down a river solo, and the day's coming to an end. It's time to find a place to sleep for the night. One of the things that I do when checking out a possible campsite is I walk around and I look for game trails. You know, I look for areas in the landscape where it looks like something comes through fairly frequently, you know, a beaten path, so to speak, that is not my own. And you know, of course, when I kayak and I go on river trips, of course I am camping close to a water source, okay. It is what it is. I'm fairly close to a water source. Tonight there is Crooked Creek, runs right across that road right there, and there are some tracks down by it. I couldn't tell. They look like dog, and that would make some sense. I mean, people come out here with their pets all the time. I didn't see anything that looked very large, like bear. I didn't see anything that resembled bear. Okay. There are bear out here. They even have a bear crossing sign when you get into Pine Log State Forest on the highway. When you come into the boundaries of it, they have a bear crossing sign. But I've been walking around and looking in, you know, along this. There's a bush line right there behind me, and I was kind of walking around, checking that out. There's obviously that's pretty much impenetrable unless you're a rabbit, you know, or maybe a deer. I don't even think a deer would want to go through there. But I haven't come across any signs that I may have to worry about, you know, bear. I did just grill a piece of meat, and that smell does travel. I put the grill back over there where it was, and I'm leaving that bag that has the Tupperware in it, still has the marinade in it. That's gonna have to just come home with me the way it is. But I'm not going to put it around all of this mess, because that is right next to me, and I would be a bear burrito or a bear taco. But that's something to consider if you don't do things like this, dispersed camp, like in national forests. You can pretty much camp anywhere you want to in a national forest. You do have to stay a certain distance away from water sources, and you do have to remove yourself a certain distance off of any main or, you know, marked trails. You can't just post up right on a trail. And they really prefer you not to post up right next to like a lake or anything, which I think is kind of weird, but whatever, that's their rules. But you can pretty much camp anywhere. And that's just, I think, a good tip when you do these kinds of things, is be aware. You really have to be aware of your surroundings. You know, you have to have a certain sense of what to look for, and ways to keep yourself from any trouble. Sometimes you just can't do anything about it. But of all the times that I've camped like this, I have yet to, knock on wood. Actually, hold on, there's trees everywhere. Knock on wood. I have yet to be disturbed by anything other than a deer, you know, coming close to where I'm sleeping. I've still got steak stuck in my teeth. So, I don't know, just take that for what it is. If what I'm doing right now sounds like something that, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, oh man, you know, this looks kind of cool. Maybe I should, you know, go try this out. Please do. Just understand there's certain things that you have to be aware of. And keep that in mind. All right, I got some steak stuck in my teeth. I'm gonna turn this thing off and dig around in my mouth for a minute. It's getting a little chilly. It might be about time for me to post up in the hammock too. All right, peeps. All right, everybody. Well, I'm belly full. The temperature's starting to drop. We're down around 50 degrees right now. I'm in the sleeping bag, in the hammock. You might be able to see my breath. I don't know. But it is oh so quiet out here right now. But I figured I just wanted to check in and just say goodnight to everybody. And I'll see y'all in the morning. And we'll finish up the rest of Crooked Creek Trail then. Once we get a little breakfast and get camp packed away. Just get right back on the bike and keep on pedaling. Adios. Good morning, everybody. It's, hold on, what time is it? About 6:15. It's about, it's about 41 degrees right now. It says it feels like 36. I never really understand that. If it if it feels like 36, then it's 36 as far as I'm concerned. But slept pretty good, man. Everything's a little wet. I had some good dew, I guess. But you know, like the top of my sleeping bag here, I mean, that's pretty damp, but I stayed dry and warm all night. I've just been kind of, you know, laying here a little bit. I've been up since before dawn, but just been kind of being quiet and just watching things wake up. Never really had any, didn't even hear anything traipsing around last night. So, I mean, normally when I'm out like this, I'll hear some owls, and I didn't hear anything. It was just dead quiet last night. So I'm guessing even the wildlife was like, it's cold, I'm sleeping. So, but it's supposed to warm up pretty quick today. I'm gonna kind of just chill out here for a little bit longer, let the sun get up a little bit, probably up above the horizon. If I can, once I see the sun kind of break up over that second level tree line right there, not the very top, but once I see, some good sunlight coming on over those trees, I'll probably get up and make some breakfast. I'm in no rush today. I don't really have anywhere to be, so I'm just going to kind of stay in the sleeping bag where it's warm for a little while longer before I actually get out and put my feet on the ground. So I've got breakfast cooking, and while it's doing its little hanging out in the bag thing, I decided to take a little walk and just, take a look around. And so I walked up out of this little kind of gully that I'm down in here and started heading up this road. There's a intersection up here, and I was just kind of looking around, and on the way back down, I happened to catch a glimpse of something. I'm gonna walk back up here to it. Hold on. We're almost there, actually. Yep, here's one. Okay. So I said this morning when I woke up that I didn't hear, anyway, anything traipsing around by me. Well, judging by the looks of the ground right here, and let's see if I can get this in there. See, I'm pretty sure you can see this right here. That's my fist. There's bottom pad, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some claws digging there. And that's not the only one either. It continues. There they go right there. Pretty good one right there. I haven't been able to discern how big of a stride it had or has. There's a couple more. It's heading here. These are heading that way, and then at some point around in there, it turned around and came back up this way. So it was headed that way, and then at some point it made a U-turn and came back out this way. Maybe the reason for the U-turn was it smelled me. I don't know. I'm still not really exactly sure what it actually is. Part of me is thinking maybe a bobcat. I wouldn't doubt that. It's a little too small, I think, to be a bear. But those are I say fairly fresh. I mean, I'm sure they happened within the last 12 hours. And here, this just it must have gotten in a hurry here, because it actually kicked the sand up. Kicked the sand up there too. So yeah. Maybe I did have a bit of a visitor, almost. Now that is cool. That is the sun burning off any moisture that was on my sleeping bag and hammock last night. It's still warm in there. My bed is steaming. All right, camp is packed up. Everything's put away. Bike is ready to go. This is what I mean by leave no trace, everybody. This is leave no trace. Heck, even over here where my fire was, yeah, you can tell that there was a fire, but seriously, if I kick this stuff around a little more, plus they had a controlled burn out here not too long ago, so I mean there's partially charred pieces of wood all over the place, but fire I'm not even really that worried about. It's rubbish, it's trash. Leave no trace. As a matter of fact, if you can, leave it looking better than you found it. We're getting back on the trail. Time to finish this trip up. Let's get on the bike. So I stopped just a second ago just to kind of check on things and see where I was. And man, it's really almost over already. Whoa, where did the trail come from like that? That was weird. Oh, and it just faked me out. I was not. Oh, hello there. Uh-oh. Here we go. We're in some mud now. Hold on. Anyway, we are really almost done. There's not much left. And that's really odd, because I haven't been on the trail for very long. I guess I did get a lot farther than I thought last night. Or my estimate of where to camp was a lot farther along than I realized. But there is still a nice patch of mud, I think, coming up here soon, if I remember correctly, that I will probably get dirty on. It's time for a drink anyway. Man. Oh, that was good. Well, this is pretty much riding on pavement almost right here. I mean, this
I'm okay with it because my butt's a little sore. But yeah, this is a hard packed road. I guess this is part of the trail. This is where it took me, so I'm going on it. I'm not complaining for the time being. I think we're very, very close to being done though. Like very, very close. Not much farther. I appreciate y'all riding along with me too. I know it's been a while since I've made a video or anything, and you know, my life's a little complicated right now with some family issues going on. Mostly, you know, with my mom basically. And my dad recently died. You know, sometimes it's just hard for me to get out. It's just hard for me to get away sometimes. So I apologize if some of y'all been kind of wondering, like, what the heck's going on with this channel? Is this guy gonna make any more videos or what? Well, I'm trying. I'm doing my best to get them out there. So just hang in with me. If you're subscribed to the channel, I truly do thank you very much for that, because you do keep me going with this. You know, I think about the, what, 130 something, 129, 130 subscribers that I have at the time of videoing this, and I think to myself, I'm like, that's 130 people that, you know, are interested enough to subscribe to my channel to watch my videos. And so when I think about how time goes by and I haven't done a video, I think about you guys, each and every one of you. I don't know who you are, but I think about you, and I'm like, you know, these people are probably wondering, you know, am I alive? Like, did I die trying to film a video? No, not yet anyway. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate and love all y'all. And I'm gonna try to keep them coming as frequent as I can. I just can't do a video a week. Heck, sometimes I can't even do a video a month right now, but you know, just stay with me. I promise you, I've got things coming up. All right, I gotta stop here and figure out where I'm supposed to go now. I think I'm supposed to follow this way because I don't see any trail markings. All right, give me a sec. Woo, we're flying now. Oh, we're moving along good. Uh-oh. All right. Oh, trail crossing. Which trail? I don't see a trail. I don't see a red flashing. I don't see anything. Oh, that's gotta be that horse trail. I'm not messing around with no horse trails. I've had enough of them. I've had enough of them. I'm in the go fast gear right now. Oh man. Okay. Let's dial her back a notch. There we go. All right, folks, I think this is the last stretch of the Crooked Creek Trail. I can hear the highway. I just have a feeling that getting off of that hard packed road back there and saw the red blaze for the trail to go this way, and the fact that I can hear the highway leads me to believe this might be the last little bit of, you know, true trail riding. Oh, holy crap, actually, I already see the pavilion. What? Okay, well, here we are. Dang, we're coming up. Oh, my truck's still there. My truck is still there. Oh, big finish, big finish, big finish. Crooked Creek Trail.